Roger, we met in Prague and I was just blown away by your insight. And we met at a PR conference. Now, your work is very much at the intersection of, would you say, human behavior and communications? Is that how you describe your specialism?
Communications is the output. It's If you look at a Venn diagram, their behavioral science is behavior design, where I learned the models from Dr. Fogg, who runs a behavior persuasive lab at Stanford. And then I have a background also in behavioral and economics. So where those two things cross over, I call that behavioral marketing, and that's the communications component of those two disciplines. And as it gets applied to public relations, honestly, customer service, sort of that whole range of marketing and communications.
And when people are looking at an idea, you're trying to introduce an idea to them, you a big advocate for there's two competing things that are going on in their brain at the same time. What are those two competing things, and how does that often play out?
Well, a lot of times, well, let me start by saying this. I've heard a lot of marketers and communications professionals say, we're going to motivate people, our customers, to do something. You actually can't motivate anybody. Scientifically, you cannot do that. You can tap into an existing motivation and spur that along, but that's not technically increasing it. What we find that is tricky about motivation, understanding that, is that there's often conflicting motivations. Like, I have hope about something, but I have fear it's not going to work out, right? So one pushes motivation up, one pushes motivation down, both of them intrinsic. So way often what I found with clients, particularly in the C-suite, is they always have this motivation to be the leader, to be right, to, get their point across, have everyone do what they need to do. And that's driving their motivation up to make a certain level of decisions. And that's often in conflict with, what does the customer need? What's my motivation for success if I'm not right? And so this motivation to be right and this motivation to succeed can sometimes be in conflict. Actually, more times than not, they're in conflict. And so part of a job as a good communications professional is to point those differences out and provide the pros and cons of the decision that you're going to make. And more times than not, that decision will favor the need for success over the need to be right.
I love that. Now, Roger, our Stories and Strategies community, they are PR professionals. And if you look back, one of our sort of modern godfathers of PR, some say the founder of modern public relations, how it's practiced, was Edward Bernays, who's the nephew of Sigmund Freud. And because of that sort of connection with psychology, the early days of practicing public relations was very much with a sort of psychologist's lens. And then we some say we lost our way. Do you feel that the comms community, that we're actually finding our way back into understanding psychology and behavioral science, and we're leaning back in again?
Honestly, not really.
But now you're on the pod. Now everyone's going to know.
Everyone's know.
Maybe you're the pivot.
Hopefully I'm the pivot. I think we were. Farzana. I think we were on that path to where we have to shift behavior. And I think for the last few years, it's really become a thing. You'll see it on websites where like, oh, we changed customer behavior, or we changed the behavior of your audiences. And that's wonderful. Now, how well they do that or not well they do that is a different argument. But at least they were doing that. So that gives me hope. But what has given me pause is honestly the introduction of AI. And instead of vacillating back and forth between system one and system two thinking, like thinking fast and thinking slow, we're going to a system three thinking where we're defaulting to someone, it's cognitive surrender, where we're surrendering that cognitive ability to the AI, asking it for an answer. And then because it feels polished and it feels right, even if it's wrong, people are taking that and running with it as opposed to doing the proper analysis for it. And that's what gives me pause, is that they might pay lip service to human behavior, but
Hmm.
then they default to a system 3 and relinquish
Yeah.
their cognitive abilities to analyze. And that's the word of caution that I have, to make sure
Yeah.
that we don't do that.
I think
I
you're
love
right. We're definitely quite concerned that we're seeing a lot of cognitive outsourcing to sort of LLMs and other AI tools. And you mentioned and framed it as System 3. Could you describe to our audience what Systems 1 and Systems 2 means to them? I mean, I read Daniel Kahneman's book, Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow. I thought it was absolutely fascinating, but I'd love to hear it from you.
Now, it's not a problem whatsoever. Sometimes I forget, for those who don't know. So system 1 is that fast thinking gut instinct. You just know. You know in your heart, you know in your gut. This feels like the right decision. And there's a need for that. It allows you to eliminate choices rather quickly.
Mm,
People who are very good at it can often eliminate 100 choices and get down to the 12 that make the most sense to investigate. And when they do that, they'll kick into a system 2, which is more deliberate. It's longer thinking, it's contemplating, it's doing some research in that investigation part. And it's allowing yourself time to really analyze and think through all the possibilities of those 12 to get to the right one. And you have to use both. No matter how talented you are at one or the other,
hmm
both are really critical. If you only rely on one, you never have the opportunity with two to get to some deeper meaning. If you only rely on two, you're wasting a lot of time investigating possibilities that really aren't going to ever go anywhere. But
And you
that's
can
the
overthink
human
it.
analysis part
Yeah.
that we need to apply to using an AI. We need to use both of those
Hmm.
systems in asking the right questions, which can be all the gut instinct system 1 stuff. Sure, allow system 3 to take over in step 2 and allow the AI to do what it needs to do, but then kick in system 2 for yourself and
hmm
analyze. Think through those answers, verify that information. Like those 3 components working in concert, I think are really effective. And for employees of the future, for communications professionals and PR, that's the system that's going to take you far, as opposed to defaulting to an answer when it's really you that has to solve the problem.
Okay, flipping this around, not just what's in my head, but in my client's
Sorry.
head. Let's say my client's making a move, and I really think it's the wrong move. And at a certain seniority, I'd say at any level, but certain seniority level, it's my job to tell them,
Right.
don't do that, don't go left, go right. How do I do that when system 1 and system 2 are working in my client's head? They may even know this is probably the wrong move, but how do I get that across, remain a trusted advisor, be able to come back for work Tuesday when it's Monday afternoon, that kind of thing? What's the best approach?
Yeah. One, start with an improv class because it'll really teach you a lot with how to deal with moment and time decisions and helping people pivot.
Okay,
Um,
yes, and go on.
yes, and there you go. At the end of the day, when you're working with human behavior, there's 2 maxims that you always have to keep in mind. The first one is that you can't manipulate anybody. Doug, I can't make you do anything you really don't want to do that you have zero motivation, right? I love to cycle. I'm going to go knock off a 100-kilometer ride, right? If you don't have a bike or you don't want to cycle, like I can't, no matter how much I prompt you, it's never going to happen, right? The second maxim is we help people do what they already want to do. Now, again, we talked about competing motivations. In that particular situation, professionally, you have to be able to point out what are the possible outcomes, and then you have to be comfortable with them living with the decision, even if that decision is wrong. However, most people will choose the right answer because the need to succeed generally overpowers the need to be right, particularly amongst the C-suite. I have found in my career that the lower you go in the organization, the need to be right actually supersedes the need to succeed, because being right is a motivator for promotion. I was right. I need to prove that I'm good. I need to self-promote. But as you get up in the organization, it flips, because now your responsibility is on the organization being successful, not you building your career.
Roger, I want to tug on that whole system three concept. And the way I simplify it is one of the ways people do that is by talking to AI like a counselor and like a friend. And not that that's black and white bad. There are probably some good applications for that, but don't rely on it. Do you find senior executives are willing to do that? That they're willing to enter into system three in terms of thinking? And to what extent? And is it good? Is it bad? Which is a horrible question.
That's okay. Only the bad CEOs. I think it depends on the CEO and honestly the situation. Relinquishing that, having that cognitive surrender, again, it's fine if you're trying to figure out who won the World Cup in 1984. It's great at that. It seems that there's a lot of people experimenting, a lot of C-suite people are experimenting, and they're just not sure what to do. And so they're either paralyzed and they're not doing anything, or they're allowing people to just play with it at their own devices and report back. I have come across C-suite people who genuinely want to use the AI for efficiency and for helping be more productive, helping their people learn better, produce better quality work. The thing they won't say is that will reduce the workforce. I mean, it's just a thing, right? It's just, you're either going to be the person who knows how to use AI effectively through behavior analysis and answer verification and expertise on qualifying anything, right? Or you're going to be the person who looks for an answer. The people who have an AI and look for an answer, they're not going to have a job. So as much as everyone's saying AI is going to take your job, that's sort of true and not true. It's only going to elevate the people who are smarter using it rather than the people just looking for an answer. Now, I have come across some people, generally it's smaller types of businesses where they are willing to relinquish their employees and themselves to system three, cognitive surrender to the AI because they don't care about the people that work for them, or the company is about producing a product that doesn't have really great intellectual human capital behind that, that thought leadership. And so for them, it's like putting together a widget in the factory. If I can get that much output that much faster, it's good enough, right? It's like in the PR world, if I can take a second, in the PR world, there's going to be those clients that come to a professional and they really need to solve larger problems. They need to level up their communications, either corporate, there could be potential crises with the type of industry that they're in. And there's people doing incredibly thoughtful work. They're using AI as an assistant to uncover blind spots, but they are the ones who have to provide the context and the sui generis ideas to help that AI uncover unrealized possibilities. Now, there are going to be clients and there's going to be PR professionals who are like, oh, you need a communications plan and a press release? Here you go. I'm going to charge you X amount of pounds or dollars, currency of choice here. And I did it in AI in 10 minutes and I don't really care about the results. Now, at some point, the AIs are going to be smarter because having an AI train an AI is going to come to an impasse. Like the AIs are going to be like, oh, this was done by another AI, therefore it's not of quality because it doesn't have everything else. But are there going to be bad actors that are just going to use the AI to output stuff that looks great and sounds polished and the clients don't know the difference? Absolutely. But my hope is, and my belief is, that's a very small minority of our communications industry. It is not the majority of people.
It's a good note to end. Thank you, Roger.
Perfect.
Thank you very much for having me on.